What? You don't have a $30,000 spray booth? Well, neither did we to do this project, but there's ways to get around that, and for a lot less money than you might think. With our truck back in the shop, it feels great to be rounding the corner of this restoration. But I want to make a point, and it's actually the point of this entire series, and that is, if you look at our dry erase board, there's 35 small projects, 4 different categories of vehicle sections as a whole. This represents 70 to 80 hours of hard labor that we put into this build. That's a lot of time, and it can be downright scary when you look at it as a whole, as a complete project. So, breaking things down into small projects, categories, managing your time, creating small successes by having a fun project list like this, even documenting the build along the way, it can take a massive restoration and make it into a manageable step-by-step process. We picked up our 1989 C1500 from the owner's shop and gave it a thorough once-over inspection and test drive. That's good. Upshifted nicely, kicked down into the other gear, released quickly. Then we negotiated a price that everybody was happy with, paid him, brought our truck home to start the restoration. Then we set about the task of organizing the different sections of the vehicle: engine, chassis, interior, and bodywork. From there, making a list of what was obviously needed in each category. All of this is important to do, and it helps you set some goals, and more importantly, realistic goals, rather than a massive knock list of the complete restoration that can be really overwhelming. A project plan can make the difference between a project being achievable and a disappointment. It's that important. With some basic goals and a simple repair list, ordering parts one category at a time can really help keep things organized and, frankly, affordable if you do it as your budget allows. The engine is the heart of any vehicle, and no matter what you find, it's important to test your engine to see if it's healthy. A compression test, cooling system test, fluid inspections all give you clues to the condition of your engine, even checking for oil leaks. Once we knew the bones were good, then we could get to work on making it look new again. Some affordable but good-looking paints from the LMCTruck catalog and some good old-fashioned hard work lifted this engine bay big time into something that I'm proud of. You can make a plan that you can tackle a little at a time. Our transmission did all the right things in the test drive, but basic maintenance can't be ignored. We did some housekeeping that'll keep our truck on the road and healthy. With our drivetrain solid, we moved to a mild lowering kit. A lowering kit drops the center of gravity, stiffens up the suspension just a little, which improves handling, and gives your truck a little bit sleeker look. Ours was just a simple bolt-on kit with a 2- and 4-inch drop. That would take you about a weekend to do, but it was well worth the effort. Followed by a cool-looking set of wheels from the LMCTruck catalog. This was a great opportunity to inspect bearings and brakes along the way too. Now, there's a ton of options for customizing ride height. Study and learn what it takes, because the more aggressive the changes you want to make, the more work and skill you need to get it done. Ours was a basic bolt-on. The interior is where you'll spend most of the time enjoying your truck. And if it's a driver or a work truck, it's even more important to feel good about it and that it's comfortable. Stripping the interior down is a great way to inspect the overall condition of the cab floor too. Replacing parts is simple, but you can do a lot more with a few simple tools, like repairing seat foam, reupholstering your seats, changing the color of your plastic and metal parts the right way, even upgrading your radio to a modern system that's up to today's standards in electronics. And remember, your interior can be restored before you do the bodywork. We've laid out a project plan this way, but you could drive your project at almost every step of the interior restoration that we did. We've shown you several ways to make a great investment on the comfort and value of your truck. Body and paint work is expensive to farm out. There's just no way around it. If you can do it yourself, that's great. You know what to do. Or you can learn it from friends, from videos, and from the internet. We showed you how to do some simple repairs without expensive equipment and handing it over to a qualified shop to respray. If you know which questions to ask and understand a little bit more about the process, you can find a shop that's willing to work with you on just doing the paint work, just spraying the paint for your truck, and letting you do most of the labor-intensive work. The results can be fantastic and much less expensive than just handing over the keys. If you spent the time on the front end and labeled your parts for reassembly, putting it all back together is really an enjoyable process. When we got our truck back from the paint shop, it looked great, but there was still a lot of work to do, which saved us a lot of money doing it ourselves. That and a little bit of cleanup gets us right here, and it looks great. But one of my goals originally was to do the facelift to the nose of this truck with the Silverado grille and the composite headlights, because there's a ton of great lighting options in the LMCTruck catalog, but it wasn't in the cards. So refurbishing the work truck grille, it became the project. And it looks great. Sometimes plans change, and that's okay, but now I'm glad it did. It gives it a cool identity. And the wheels look good too with the Mickey Thompson rubber. With the dash and plastic parts color changed, throwing a new carpet in it, the reupholstered seat and refurbished door panels gives us a fully restored interior. The seat is comfortable and it looks great. With the new insulation, it's got a solid feel and it actually has a new car smell, which is way better than the 30-year-old old car smell that we started with. This looks nice. Inside the bed, we didn't want to go the show truck route to full body and paint in all the panels. What we ended up with was frankly easy and durable, and it looks really good. Our refurbished engine bay now matches the rest of the truck, and seeing all of this hard work come together, it's a rich reward. Now the only thing left to do is see how she feels on the road. It is so awesome to have this truck out on the road again after months of tearing it apart and looking and tweaking and tightening and fixing and replacing. And it's a truck again, and it's on the road, and it feels so good. And I know it looks good. Inside, and it's so quiet. The extra insulation is doing its job. And the new carpet kit with the jute backing, it's doing what it's supposed to do, and there's no 30 years of funk buildup. If there's any funk, it's coming from me, but there's certainly not from this carpet kit. It just feels good. It feels like a new truck, at least to me. We've got some twisties here, and I gotta tell you, it sits in the road better. Now, I know this intellectually because it's got a 2.4 lowering kit on it and a lower profile tire with a wider footprint. So that combination is gonna give us better handling. It's a lower center of gravity, there's less body roll, and it just feels better. So I'm gonna roll into this turn, kick it down coming out of the apex. Dude, it feels nice. As far as improvements that we could do, maybe a heavier sway bar, and quite frankly, these are the original shocks. We didn't change the shocks. So a performance shock absorber in combination with front and rear sway bars. This thing will handle like a skateboard on rails, man. I'm stoked. We're safe, there's no cars coming up behind us. I'm gonna hammer on the throttle, just because. Oh yeah. So we picked up some performance, probably just from cleaning out that old nasty throttle body. But it shifts crisp. Man, it sits in the road good. I am so freaking stoked. When we test drove this truck, we did a 30-0 stopping test. So I'm gonna try that again. All right, with 30 miles an hour, I'm gonna see how this thing stops. No lockup. Wow, wow, I like that. And that combined with a firmer brake pad feel, yes, that's another mission accomplished. I like it. Overall, this thing feels like a whole different vehicle. So is our project finished? Well, I guess that depends what you mean by finished. For some car guys, they're never really done. But isn't it great that we've got a partner like LMCTruck, that with the click of a mouse or a phone call, there's no limit to the ways that we can improve, customize, or maintain our trucks. And this one, you know what? I'm proud of it. I wouldn't be afraid to take this to a car show. This could be my daily driver, and this truck can get me back and forth to work. So we asked you a question right at the beginning of this series. How do you eat an elephant? Well, the answer is one bite at a time. How do you restore your truck? one project at a time. And it's a process that you can enjoy and take pride in. And now you know how to keep them on the road. Just make sure the shop that you bring it to is qualified to do the work, because it can get real expensive if you gotta pay for it twice. That's stupid. Our truck runs great. All that's gonna start the stance of a vehicle is important. Changing this, oh, wrong stand up. The front part of this, oh, son of a, this seat is horrible. So it also gives you the opportunity to really get down and inspect your floors, so you can take care of any peeling off or flaking. And we're gonna start that one again. Our interior is getting transformed from one, what? We're gonna try that again. This truck has a two-piece radio system that fits into the so if you're gonna do the prep work for yourself, or, yes, God, please make it stop.